Hello and welcome to Sage and Stone Homestead. If you have not met me yet, my name is Heather. You can probably hear I've got my freeze dryer running. It's been pre-cooling because I have a fun project to do today. We are going to be making a snack out of some beans that I grew. These are actually, technically they're southern peas. I have some black-eyed peas in here and some chicken and dumplings cowpeas. I think a lot of times people think of freeze dryers and they think that it's really only used for preserving food, and that is a very great use for these, but they can also be used to help make things that you would ordinarily buy like maybe once a month or so, or maybe even every week at the grocery store. A couple things that I have been freeze drying that I used to purchase is liver, to make my own liver supplement from home, and also the greens to our broccolis and things that we've been growing to make my own greens powder. And I can tell you the difference that it's made in my pocketbook of what I'm not having to purchase at the grocery store is absolutely offsetting the cost of this machine. These are very expensive, and so if we can kind of think outside the box and make these things work for us in a way where they really can recoup their initial cost, that's probably the best thing. I will say though, this video is part of a collaboration, and the prize to be won at the end of this collaboration is a medium-sized harvest rate freeze dryer. Thank you so much to the Inquisitive Farmwife for putting on Freeze Dried February. We participated last year and freeze dried some bone broth, and that's a really great thing that I like to do frequently. It helps take gallons. I can fit 2.5 gallons of bone broth in here and condense it down into fitting in a half-gallon jar, and that has a lot of value for me living in a small house and really having limited space to store things. I'll leave all the information to include the playlist for this collaboration in the pinned comment and in the description box below. That's how you're going to enter to win, by watching the videos and making your genuine comments. And then the giveaway will be announced during a live stream on the Inquisitive Farmwife channel. Anywho, what I have done is I rehydrated these beans and then I boiled them. I don't know if you could use canned beans for this same process. This is actually the first time I will have done this myself, but I'm guessing because canned beans tend to be a little bit softer than like a fresh boiled bean, that it might not turn out so well. The end goal for this is really to kind of replace potato chips or replace popcorn. Those are kind of things that we tend to reach for to go alongside our lunches, and I really want to be able to create a fun snack like that out of things that we grow here. This was a half gallon's worth of peas, and I've got them in here. I am going to add some salt as well as the flavoring of choice. I've got a few different powders inside. This one is sour cream and onion, and that is one of my favorite chips to buy, and it is a loved flavor within our home. Now, I don't have a recipe for this. I'm kind of winging it. The reason I had this idea is I had freeze dried some chili that I made, some white chicken chili, except for we raise rabbits here instead of chicken for white meat. And when I had tasted a little bit of it freeze dried, I picked off one of the black-eyed peas that was in the mix and popped it in my mouth, and that was such an amazing texture. I think that this is going to work out really well. Some of the powder in here is a little bit clumpy. I'm just making sure that we don't have any big chunks going down. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, pink Himalayan salt. There's no salt or anything in this mix, and salt is a flavor enhancer. But also, I will say, whenever you run something through the freeze dryer and remove essentially all of the moisture out of it, the flavors really do concentrate, so be careful. One time we freeze dried some pickles, and pickles are a strong flavor to begin with, but then you put them through the freeze dryer and they're almost hard to eat. They're so intense. If you can feel the vinegar in your lungs while you're eating it, it's kind of crazy. It's definitely not for everyone. So I'm trying to be really gentle while I'm stirring them because I want to keep as many of the peas intact as possible. It's not going to be a big deal if we've got some broken ones. I can see that we do, but it's going to affect their poppability, and I really want that. Let's go for, that's probably about a 1/4 cup of the mix. See them in here. I don't have any oil or anything. The powder is sticking just because of the moisture of the beans. That's really great as is. Like, I would serve this as a side with dinner. That would be really good as like a cool salad in summer with maybe some fresh green beans or something in there, some fresh sprouts. So what I have behind me here is a large sized freeze dryer from Harvest Right. I bought this before they had increased the tray quantity inside the freeze dryers. So mine only has 5 trays. I've actually been okay with that because I feel like if I had 6 trays, it would be hard for me to figure out exactly how to fill it to begin with. I have an issue with that. So we're just gonna be loosely filling the trays, and I need to make sure I have something on every tray. Essentially, I would like to evenly distribute the food within the freeze dryer just so we don't kind of mess up the computer. There's a computer in there that can tell when the things on the tray are dry, and if we have things kind of unevenly distributed, or maybe I left a tray blank, that can mess with things. As you can tell, I'm not pre-freezing my ingredients. Honestly, I see a lot of people suggesting it, and I mean, don't stop if that's what works for you, but I find that it doesn't necessarily save time. Where I could see that it could save time is if you're going to have multiple batches going back to back. Really, the freeze dryer is going to do a deep freeze, and it does it pretty quickly. Really, I expect this whole process to take less than 24 hours. Okay, as you can see, I've been shaking them out just to get a single layer. It's not a big deal if they do stack on top of each other a little bit, but now we pop it in. Close the valve, hit go, and now we wait. Well, hello. It's actually been a couple days, and the freeze dryer did not take a couple days to dry out the beans. It actually only took about 22 hours. But one of the awesome things about freeze dryers is that when they're done, they kind of just go into like a deep freeze mode, and they just sit there with the vacuum on, just waiting for you to be ready to take them out. It's been a little bit crazy trying to get ready here for kidding season, which by the time this posts should be in full swing. And so I'm really grateful that this guy has essentially like a pause mode and can wait for me to be ready to unpack it. Oh, they smell good. I can smell the sour cream and onion. So very, very light. You know, they are a good flavor, but like a lot of freeze-dried foods, they're just so incredibly dry that it almost sucks the moisture right out of your mouth. However, very addicting texture, perfect amount of flavor. I'll have to look back at the video to figure out exactly how much powder I used. What a fun way to use our harvest, right? You know, as I'm eating them, I'm getting used to how incredibly dry they are. This is really nice. I wonder what the kids would think. Days, do you want to be on video tasting something?
Yay!
Okay, let me make it short.
So, is there dried jelly beans?
They're not jelly beans.
I meant beans.
They are beans. Okay.
Oh.
So I put sour cream and onion powder on. You know how Miss Elsie makes her pasta?
Yeah.
I put that stuff on here. And they're dry. They're kind of like popcorn.
Really yummy. I like that.
Go ahead, grab one. Let me know what you think. It's a little weird at first. Feel free to taste a few because they are really dry.
I ate the whole tray.
Addie said I'd eat the whole tray.
That's delicious. They're pretty good, actually.
You like them?
Mine. I want lunch now.
Is this something you would grab to eat with lunch?
Yeah. I'd grab it for hiking.
Yep. It'd be really great to take on a trip. Very light. You could pack it. You'd want to be careful and not crush them. This one back here. I don't even know if you can see her. This one. This is my picky eater. She keeps reaching on the pan, so I'd call that a success. Look at you. Well, let me take them off the tray and we can have some with lunch, okay?
Yay, lunchtime.
I got this large funnel at the local Amish store. I think it goes with like a tomato sauce machine or something. It works perfectly for putting dried goods in these half-gallon jars, which is the way that I like to store things that I know are going to go through really quickly. And a lot of things don't shrink down in size in the freeze dryer. I did start out with about a half gallon, worth of cooked beans, and so we'll get about a ½ gallon's worth packed back in here, except for they're dry now. And just so you can see up close, visual of the texture, just crumbles into dust. When I am packing things in a jar like this, I like to put in a desiccant pack. This is not an oxygen absorber. All this is going to do is take the moisture that's in the air inside the jar out of the air inside the jar, so that our beans or whatever else I have freeze-dried doesn't end up having kind of like a stale texture. Here we go, our homegrown healthy snack that is a good substitute for something like Cheetos or chips or something. It's really great to have these kind of things on hand. I don't make lunch. I guess I don't never make lunch, but I frequently don't make lunch for the kids. It's a lot of grab and go stuff, and this is going to be a really great option for them and for me, of course. I feel like the options are pretty much endless with this. Whatever you want to flavor these with. You could do powdered ranch. They do make like a cheese powder, so you could have almost that Cheeto flavor. I was thinking about maybe a little bit of fresh dill would be great on this. Now it might not stick, like if we didn't use a powdered something. I'm not really sure how things like fresh herbs would really work with this application, but I've got plenty more of beans inside, and I'm gonna be filling this again really soon with a different flavor. So if you've tried this before, let me know if you're looking forward to trying this. Also let me know, and don't forget that this video was part of a collaboration. I'll leave all of the collaboration details down below. Also, before you leave, I've made the playlist for the collaboration easy to get to. I'll put that up here, and I also have a playlist of our freeze drying adventures here on our farm. I'll leave that playlist down here too.